Welcome back, wonderful people, to another Chris McPherson Show Daily Dose. And we are back talking about Wimbledon as we head into day 9 of the action. Things are heating right up. Aussie Watch is looking very slim after an intriguing and almost borderline depressing day 8 at Wimbledon. Alex de Minaur got out of the blocks flying to give a bit of a shake to Novak Djokovic. Had a chance to come back into the fourth set as well. He won that first set 6-1, then fell behind 2-1, but just couldn't take his opportunities. His first serve wasn't quite on, and those challenges undid him, meaning that the Demon bows out as our last Australian in the senior men's and women's draws. And as we get to the quarterfinals, unfortunately, no Australian quarterfinalists in the men's and women's singles. We'll start to pick up on the doubles in the coming days as well, as we see as the Aussies look to make some charges there. There's quite a few Aussies in action. We've talked the juniors the last couple of days. It was good news for Talia Kokinis and Emerson Jones in the second round. They both progressed through to the third round, but they will not play until tomorrow night. But in action tonight in the juniors is none other than Cruz Hewitt. His old man will be out there as well. He's playing in the Invitational Legends doubles as well, I believe, alongside maybe Mark Philippoussis. So a big night for the Hewitt family. Leighton going through for the exhibition. Cruz, though, deep into this now. He is into the round of 32, where he comes up against the 11th seed in the draw, Oskari Paldanius, the Scandinavian star. He's the 11th seed, as I said. He is well thought of on the grass courts. It's going to be a job for Hewitt to get it done past him, but as we said, what we've seen so far from him, he got a good strong win in the first round, 1 and 2, and again, it's a mirror image. It's a clone of Leighton. Let's see that he can go on. It'd be great to see him get another win here and maybe go deep into this tournament. That would be exciting to see. As I said, he takes on Paldanius now, and the next opportunity will potentially be against the American, the 7th seed, Wilworth. But again, he's got to get through this round of 32. Can he make a bit of a march and continue to put his name up in lights? Remembering he's just 16 years of age. It'll be interesting to see. We do have 2 on for girls, Kokinis, Talia Kokinis, that is, and Emerson Jones through to the round of 16, and we'll pick those games apart a little bit more tomorrow when we chat some more Wimbledon. We look to day 10. Back onto day 8 as well. A little sad if you caught that Grigor Dimitrov, Yannick Sinner match. Yannick Sinner, first of all, taking a fall early, and it looks like there might be something with his elbow. He's going to have to get that checked with an MRI and know a little bit more overnight our time. But you had to feel for Grigor Dimitrov. He was on top of the world number 1, maybe just getting a glimpse of that best of what he can deliver. He was 2 sets to love up. He was starting to get on a roll, and then he tore what it looks to be his pectoral muscle. And it was just harrowing scenes. You could see the look on Roger Federer's face in the crowd. You could see Yannick Sinner's immediate reaction to come across the court as Dimitrov was just collapsed, sitting on the court, distraught, depressed. And it was heartbreaking to see. It was really, really tough to watch, and you've got to feel for him. A real challenge in terms of the emotion that it ensued and pulled out, the empathy that it pulled from many there, many watching along. And you listen to a lot of journalists, just the outpouring of emotional support for Dimitrov, and you just feel for him. It looked like he was on the cusp of making that breakthrough, and as it has in the last 4 Grand Slams prior to this one, making it 5 straight, he's broken down and hasn't been able to complete his matches and has had to withdraw due to injury. And it just makes you wonder the what if of it. And I'm sure that's part of what was going through Roger Federer's mind, that he was thankful that nothing major like this had really disjointed his run to being what he was. And there was time when Dimitrov was referred to as baby fed in his early days. So what could have been, what should have been, what would have been. Unfortunately for Dimitrov, it does mean that he bows out at the round of 16, but it just shows the potential that he's got. We've seen Yannick Sinner barely miss a beat. He broke the record on getting through to the 4th round with the least games dropped. We talked about that yesterday. And here's Grigor Dimitrov absolutely going toe-to-toe with him and winning. So I just wanted to touch on that, really feeling for Dimitrov, and we wish him all the best. Hopefully a speedy recovery as we can see. And the Sinner injury will be an interesting one to see what the news is that comes out of that, whether we'll get the full story or not leading into his quarterfinal. I highly doubt. But the one thing we know is potentially going to open things up into the next situations for these guys and into the next matches. So as the quarterfinal shape up, might create and present an opportunity for the likes of Novak Djokovic and co. on this side of the draw. So we'll wait and see. We'll look for more news on that as we head into day 10. But let's focus on day 9, and it does mean that our quarterfinal action is getting underway. And let's start with the men's draw. Taylor Fritz, we know he got that walkover against Jordan Thompson 2 days ago. And look, to be fair, he needed it. He'd been through absolutely huge volumes of play. 2 5-setters in the first and second against Diallo and Pesci Pericard, the Frenchman. 2 big servers, 2 that made him work for it, 2 power hitters. He then came up against Davidovich Fokina, Alejandro Davidovich Fokina, the 26th seed in the 3rd round. And again, went to 4 sets, went to another tie break. It was just one of those pieces where you really thought that Fritz needed to manage his workload. Unfortunately for Jordan Thompson, obviously, his back got to him and the injury saw him subdued, and that meant that he couldn't continue on. So Fritz, a little bit of a refresher, a little bit of a chance here, you would think. So he comes up against Karen Hachinoff, the 17th seed. Now, we know that Hachinoff has put in some really strong performances at different points. His first round win over Mackenzie McDonald was clinical in straight sets. His last match in the round of 16 was certainly a really good performance as well, up against Kamil Masharatz, 4-2 and 3. Again, Hachinoff, we know that he's got the ability to do this. We know he's got the ability to mix it with Fritz, to challenge Fritz, to be difficult for Fritz. And Fritz has never beaten him on the tour either. It's a 2-0 record in Hachinoff's favour. That going back to 19 and 20, though. I mean, the last time they played was in a competition that doesn't exist anymore, the ATP Cup. So both on hard courts. But again, Hachinoff can be well suited to these natural surfaces of clay and grass. Fritz, he's a different player to what he was a couple of years ago as well, though. So it'll be interesting to see how that shapes up. And, you know, you've only got to have a bit of a look at, I guess, how these two have paired, you know, or played this season. And, you know, it's a pretty strong record, 29-11 for Fritz. You know, he's won titles this year. He's 12-1 on grass. Hachinoff 8-2, both really good records. Between them, they've spent 22 hours on court this tournament. Hachinoff's actually spent more time on court despite those drawn-out matches in the first 2 rounds for Fritz. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. I think Hachinoff can cause him trouble. Do I think he's going to win this one? No, I think Taylor Fritz should get this done in 4. Again, he really needs to manage how his workload is because of, you know, who he's likely going to come up against in the semi-finals. He really needs to get this done efficiently. We know that Fritz likes to take things deep and grind players out, but he needs to find a way to close this out and get it done. So I'm going to go Fritz to get it done in 4. But again, it wouldn't completely blindside me if Hachinoff got through, but it'd be a great story for Hachinoff. We know that you know, he's obviously quite a strong player at the best of his game. He's sitting sort of around that 20 mark in the rankings. He has been up inside the top 10. He's made quarterfinals here before in 2021. He's never made it past the semi-final of a slam, though, and you know, he's been making quarterfinals most years at different slams. So we'll see how he goes here. I'm leaning, as I said, Taylor Fritz in 4, so we'll move along to the other of the men's quarterfinals to be played on centre court. And Cam Norrie, he's going to have to face up to the centre court crowd. He's talked about how he loves court 1 with his little blonde quiff in his hair, ready to rock and roll, and he's got the vibes there. But he's on the big stage, and that's because he's playing none other than number 2 seed, the defending champion, Carlos Alcaraz. And this is going to be a huge match. Carlos has been in strong form. He went to 5 sets in the first round, yes, against Fognini, but he's looked to have been reasonably comfortable, barring a couple of blips, but I'd say reasonably comfortable across the second, third, and fourth rounds. Wins over Tave, Struff, and even Rublev. He dropped the first set in a tiebreak 2 days ago on centre court. He's played all of his matches on centre court, as you would expect as a defending champion, and he is just building here. And I love the story of Cameron Norrie. That win over Nicolas Jarry, he had to go to 5 sets. He's knocked out Francis Tiafoe. He took down Matteo Bellucci. He took down Bautista Agut in the first round as well. So he's played against good level players all the way through. Alcaraz, his first test was against Rublev, really, and he dealt with that pretty comfortably in terms of, I mean, Fognini, yes, in the first round was a tough draw, but it's, again, the defending champion. So I just think that Alcaraz gets this done. He should be getting it done in straight sets. Norrie might prove a thorn in his side. He needs to get out of the blocks hard, but that's probably where he hasn't been as strong, is, really just accelerating through. And, even matches, that one against Nicolas Jarry, he got the first 2 sets and he had the advantage, and then he let it claw back in arm wrestles, in tie breaks. He closed it out well, and he has closed that match as well. But again, I don't think he's going to get that opportunity against the mobility and athleticism of Carlos Alcaraz. He's going to run him around the court. He's going to try and maneuver him. He's going to use his power. If he gets his serve bot style going that we've seen at points in this tournament already from Carlos, this could be an absolute clinic and a whitewash. And I think that Alcaraz gets this done. I'm actually going to go straight sets here. I think it'll be something like 4-3 and 4, something like that. Norrie will be in the match, but Alcaraz will be too strong and he'll put power through to what should be a semi-final, and then a match-up with either Fritz or Hatchnoff, most likely Fritz. It'll certainly be an interesting one. We then head to the women's side of the draw, and this one's a really interesting one for me. I've talked about it on a number of these shows. Amanda Anisimova, that powerful backhand, the strong shot making. She needs to sort her serve out a little bit more. She was giving way too many looks at it, even in the early round, in the second and third round, but certainly against Linda Noskova. She cannot afford to do that against Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova. The Russian is going to absolutely make her regret that if it does occur, and she does allow her to have that bit of a sniff. Anisimova, though, has a 3-0 record against Pavlyuchenkova, and that's the way that I think I'll lean. As I said, I tipped her early to make the semi-finals. I think maybe even around the time of the draw. I thought that it shaped up really well for her. Yes, Pavlyuchenkova has probably a greater career record when you look at the numbers, but when you have a look at recent form, Anisimova is just powering up the rankings. She's continued to work forward. The New Jersey native is so strong, and it's not that far removed that they played in 2024 twice, and both those Anisimova won the first one in Auckland early in 2024 in straight sets. And then in Washington in mid-year, she managed to come back after losing the tiebreak. But again, her serve was key to that. If you go back and watch the highlights of that match in the round of 16 in Washington, Anisimova was strong on her serve in the first set, set a really good tempo, stayed in the match in the tiebreak in the second set, but lost the tiebreak, and then closed it out 6-4 in the third. I think, again, two big power hitters. This is going to be physical. This is going to be two ladies trying to dominate each other with their shot making. And I think that falls into Anisimova's favour if she can keep her serve on. If her serve starts to crumble, Pavlyuchenkova could really quickly turn this around. This is a Pavlyuchenkova that, she knocked out Ayla Tomljanovic and Naomi Osaka. They're the only ones to take sets off her. She took down Kruger, so Ashlyn Kruger, the 31st seed in the second round in straight sets, and then almost a mirror image scoreline against Sonne Cartel last round. I tipped Cartel. I thought that Pavlyuchenkova might have run out of petrol at this point, but she is marching on. She is being really strong, but I think Anisimova is just going to be that little bit of resistance too much, and we'll see Amanda Anisimova march through to a semi-final matchup with the winner of Aryna Sabalenka and Laura Siegemund. Now, Laura Siegemund, we know, we've talked about it. She's so difficult. She's knocked out 2 seeds. She's knocked out Peyton Stearns. She made short work of Solana Sierra, the Argentinian emerging star, 2 days ago as well. She's been really consistent in this tournament, and that's not something we always associate with Laura Siegemund. This is the furthest she's made it in any Grand Slam. It's only the second time she's made a quarterfinal. She made the quarterfinals of the French in 2020. Now she's through to the quarterfinals here at Wimbledon. And look, she's going to be dangerous, but she's coming up against the runaway world number one, Aryna Sabalenka. And for me, we're talking about a player who 2 years ago who couldn't get out of qualifying here. She is one that will deliver a blemish, will deliver a underperformance at some point. So I think that Siegemund's going to get done here in straight sets. So I think Sabalenka's power is just going to be too much for her. No matter what she tries to do, she did a great job against Mertens in the last round. In Sabalenka, she's knocked over Raducanu, Buzkova, Brandstein as well. She hasn't dropped a set. She's been, her scorelines have almost been mirror reflections across these last few rounds. Sorry, 6-4, 4-6, 6-4. So I'm going for Aryna Sabalenka to get it done in straight sets and march on to the semi-final after a win over Laura Siegemund. Big thank you for tuning in. As always, we look forward to bringing you some more daily doses in our weekly episode in the coming days. And until next time, thank you for tuning in to the Chris McPherson Show Daily Dose.